36 teams are about to receive an at-large invitation. I'm Greg Noble, along with Clark Kellogg and Seth Davis. You guys both know this feels a lot different than it did a year ago.
Oh, man, I'm always excited when we get the opportunity to do this, Greg, but there's an extra level of excitement. You can feel it in here. You can feel it all around the country. The games have been terrific on the court.
The pressure's
but now,
on
as
to
we
look
embark
excited.
on a return to pre-COVID like March Madness, it's been amplified. The appreciation, the excitement, the joy. I'm ready to dig into the matchup once we get these brackets unveiled.
And the only thing I know for sure is nobody wants to hear me talk right now. Read the teams.
Without further ado, let's begin the reveal. Here are the tournament brackets from the NCAA and its corporate champion, AT&T 5G. The overall #1 seed, Gonzaga, with the Bulldogs playing in the West region. First and second round, Portland, Oregon. Here comes Gonzaga. And we know what kind of a day they had championship night a year ago. They're looking to switch that around. All right. So, Gonzaga, our #1 seed in the West. 5th #1 seed all time for them. And they will go up against the 16th seed, Georgia State Panthers, out of the Sun Belt Conference. After beating Louisiana in the Sun Belt Tournament final, the Panthers have won 10 straight entering the tournament. The #8 seed, Boise State's Broncos, out of the Mountain West, won their first Mountain West tournament title, make their first NCAA tournament appearance since 2015. They will take on the Memphis Tigers, out of the American Athletic, 21-10 on the year. Coached by Penny Hardaway, Tigers go back to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2014. First and second round games in Buffalo, New York on Thursday and Saturday. The #5 seed, UConn Huskies, out of the Big East. They had big wins over Auburn and Villanova. Those wins accounting for part of the Huskies' 4 quad 1 wins. They will meet 12th seeded New Mexico State, the Aggies from the Western Athletic Conference, 26-6 on the year. For share of the WAC regular season title, they won 14 games. The #4 seed, the Razorbacks of Arkansas, out of the SEC. The Razorbacks enter the NCAA tournament, winning 14 of their last 17 games. And they will meet veterans of this time of year, the Catamounts of Vermont.
San Diego.
A year ago, Arkansas got a first-round scare from Colgate. Vermont plays a similar style with superior
Those are
talent.
both
Hawks
easier
better
to
be
get
ready.
to, though.
So, first and second
Buffalo's
round now,
hard.
San Diego, California, Friday and Sunday. The 6th seed out of the SEC, second team out of the SEC, is the Crimson Tide of Alabama. Jaden Shackelford leads the Tide, averaging nearly 17 points a game. They will play the winner of the first 4 game in Dayton, Ohio. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights will be there, out of the Big Ten. For only the second time in school history, the Scarlet Knights make consecutive NCAA tournament appearances. Some people had them, some didn't.
Well, they were a bubble team, and those are your 2 bubble teams. And all props to Steve Michael for holding this watch party. It would have been a disappointing one. Their 6 quad 1 wins were huge in Notre Dame's overall strength of schedule, and that 2-point win over Kentucky put the Irish in the field.
They will go up against the Fighting Irish. Coach Mike Bray taking Notre Dame back to the tournament for the first time since 2017. Moving on down the bracket, the #3 seed out of the Big 12, the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. They fell to Kansas in the Big 12 tournament final, but they are the 3 seed, and they will meet the Bobcats of Montana State from the Big Sky. Bobcats making their first NCAA tournament appearance since 1996. Welcome back to the Big Dance. First and second round games in Greenville, South Carolina on Friday and Sunday, the 7th seed. Michigan State, the Spartans from the Big Ten. Coach Tom Izzo ties Mike Krzyzewski's record for consecutive tournament appearances at 24. And they will meet the Wildcats of Davidson. Atlantic 10, Coach Bob McKillop, his Wildcats, their second A-10 regular season title, 27-6 on the year. And rounding out this bracket, the 2nd seed out of the ACC, the Blue Devils of Duke. Coach Krzyzewski in his final season makes his 36th NCAA tournament appearance. Coach K, 97 NCAA tournament wins in his career.
And this team has championship ability, but the youth of this team has shown itself in some of its losses. That's really the question. Can they grow up enough each game they play in the tournament to handle some of the better teams if they advance?
Meanwhile, who will they face? Out of the Midwest, it'll be the Titans of Cal State Fullerton. They're picked to finish 8th in the preseason media poll. Titans won the Big West tournament title, knocking off top seed Long Beach State. So as we slide back up to the top of this bracket, Seth, what stands out to you?
Well, first of all, that 8-9 matchup between Boise State and Memphis, that's a tortoise in the hare type of game. I like Boise State to win that game, Clark, which would set up a potential second-round game against Gonzaga. Boise State coach Leon Rice used to be an assistant coach under Mark Few. And how about UConn and Vermont getting to play in Buffalo? A little bit of a home court advantage.
A little bit of a home court advantage, but that New Mexico State team is really dangerous. The Aggies have a number of guys who can make it happen. Teddy Allen is a terrific all-around player. Johnny McCants is a guy in the middle, and they've got an outstanding guard in Jabari Rice. Keep an eye on New Mexico State.
All right, in the lower half of that bracket, Michigan State, Davidson, Duke, and Cal State Fullerton.
Yeah, I like Davidson to beat Michigan State, a really efficient offensive team. We saw them today go down, and I think that potentially further in the bracket, Texas Tech is exactly the kind of team that I think would give Duke trouble because they're old and they're physical. I think Texas Tech.
And you're going to see some of that throughout the bracket because of the transfer portal. Teams have been able to get better, quicker, and older. So a lot more good teams, no great teams.
All right, guys, dozens of teams across the country anticipating where they may go, who they may play, including Colgate, Providence, Miami, TCU, and Bryant University. Quarter of the 60-18 field is set, and the men's basketball championship selection show continues. We will reveal the South region.
The NCAA Men's Basketball Championship Selection Show is sponsored by AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, and secure. Capital One. What's in your wallet? And by Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Is it the best Coke ever?
I'm glad you might be able to cover for me during March Madness.
People say we're kind of alike. Wow.
You're making Do you have any phone experience?
I do. I made this. Touche. Crochet. It's crochet. Wow.
Okay, you're hired.
You're hired. I work here. Oh, yeah.
AT&T 5G is fast, reliable, and secure, even in the madness of March.
The new season just dropped. Enter the Big Dinner Box from Pizza Hut. 2 pizzas, breadsticks, and wings all in one box. You'll run out of episodes before you run out of food. The Big Dinner Box, only from Pizza Hut. No one else beats the Hut.
New degree advanced. First ever 72-hour nonstop protection with motion sensor. Tested to the limit. Still feeling dry and fresh. Superior 72-hour nonstop protection, however much you move.
Wow! Cinderella story we have here. Who doesn't love a Cinderella story? Absolutely. I mean, you're the engineer. See? Tell me about it.
It's like, is the glass slipper going to fit, or isn't it? And the evil stepsisters almost chased the prince off. It's riveting. And then the carriage turns back into a pumpkin at midnight. Have you ever tried to drive a pumpkin? Very unbiblical.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Geico, proud partner of NCAA March Madness. Go to geico.com and see how much you could save.
It's Final Four weekend, and the only thing worse than your bracket is your hair. Just open the Great Clips in. You can get in and out and feel like a winner. Talk about a Cinderella story. We got you, and you got this. Great Clips official pencil on March Madness.
This credit app will save you money.
Heck of a crowd, Ed. Feel no pain.
The app is trash. Only with Experience app can you get your free FICO score. Raise it instantly. Download the Experience app now.
We welcome you back to the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship Selection Show. Let us now focus our attention on the upper right quadrant, where we continue our review of the tournament brackets from the NCAA and its corporate champion, Capital One. And second overall #1 seed is Arizona. The Wildcats are headed to the South region. 7th time the Wildcats have been the #1 seed all time. The first time since 2014. The Wildcats at 31-3 overall, 18-2 out of that Pac-12. They won the Pac-12 regular season title, went on to win the Pac-12 tournament, defeating UCLA. They'll play against the winners of the first 4. Winner Dayton, Ohio on Wednesday. That'll be between the Raiders of Wright State and the Bryant Bulldogs out of the Northeast. They knocked off Wagner for their first NCAA tournament appearance ever. Regular season champs for the first time as well. Peter Kiss leads the nation in scoring, averaging 25 points.
Yeah, he's got a lot of game. Actually averaged over 30 a game his last 11, so that guy can get it in the basket.
All right, the second team out of the Big East is the #8 seed, and that'll be the Pirates of Seton Hall. 5 straight Big East regular season wins to end the year.
And these teams in the 8-9 area, we always look at those games, but in a year where there's so much compression, these kinds of teams, Seton Hall, you look at Boise State, Memphis, and whoever else is there at that 9 spot, these games are going to be challenges for whoever advances to meet that #1 seed.
I'll tell you who's in that #9 spot.
I figured you would.
Well, the Horned Frogs of TCU, Coach Jamie Dixon's squad, 8 Big 12 wins, second most in program history, 20-12 on the year for TCU. So congrats to them. First and second round games in Pittsburgh. These will be on Friday and Sunday. The second seed out of the American Athletic is the #5 Houston Cougars. Coach Kelvin Sampson took the Cougars to their 3rd regular season title in the last 4 years. They will meet the #12 seed out of Conference USA, the Blazers of UAB. They defeated Louisiana Tech in the Conference USA tournament title game, and they're making their first tournament appearance since 2015. Third team out of the Big Ten is the #4 seed, the Fighting Illini of Illinois. 5 consecutive 20-win seasons. Defeat Auburn, only player in the country, averaging at least 20 points and 10 rebounds. The Locks of Chattanooga. 27-7 on the year. They come into the NCAA tournament after winning the Southern tournament. They also won the regular season Southern title.
5-7 on the 13 seeds in the last 3 tournaments, right, Seth? Say it. And this Chattanooga team has the build of a power conference team. They've got size at every position. They've got a terrific all-around player, Malachi Smith. That is a matchup that I can't wait to see.
All right, guys, let's move on now. First and second round games in Indianapolis on Thursday and Saturday. The second team out of the Mountain West, the Rams of Colorado State. The Rams make their first NCAA tournament appearance since 2013. They got David Roddy, who's the Mountain West Player of the Year, 25-5 on the season for Colorado State. They will meet the 4th team out of the Big Ten, the Michigan Wolverines. Hunter Dickinson, 2nd straight season leading Wolverines in scoring and rebounding.
A lot of conversation about Michigan. They were a bubble team, first 4 in, first 4 out. They're not even in the first 4 in. They got an 11th seed with room to spare despite that 17-14 overall record. That'll be a conversation.
Strength of schedule in the conference and outside of it.
All right, the #3 seed, the 3rd team out of the SEC, and the Volunteers of Tennessee won their first SEC tournament title since 1979. Meaning such a thing now.
I thought Tennessee had an outside shot either at a 1 seed or at least to be the top 2 seed. Very surprised to see them on the 3 line.
Who were they meeting? Out of the Big South, the Lancers of Longwood, their first Big South regular season title in school history. They make their first ever NCAA tournament appearance after winning the Big South tournament final. 26-6 on the year. Let's continue to move on. First and second round games in Pittsburgh on Friday and Sunday. The 5th team out of the Big Ten is the #17 Buckeyes of Ohio State. They make it 4 straight NCAA tournament appearances.
Nice seed for the Buckeyes there and a comfortable location as well.
Who will they meet? Out of the Missouri Valley Conference, the 10th seed Ramblers of Loyola, Chicago.
That is not comfortable.
30 Valentine, youngest coach in NCAA Division I men's basketball. They make it back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances. And rounding out from the Big East, 3rd team out of the Big East, the #2 seed, Wildcats of Villanova. Coach Wright makes it 9 straight NCAA tournament appearances. Wildcats won the Big East tournament title. Who will they meet? They'll go up against the Blue Hens of Delaware, the number 15 seed. For the first time since 2014, Delaware comes back to the NCAA tournament, and they upset the top 2 seeds in the Colonial Athletic Association tournament. So let's go back and review as we move back to the top of this bracket. Clark, what pops out at you?
Well, I talked about it earlier. I said it earlier. When you have these 8-9 teams that are really pretty strong, it's going to be interesting in those second-round matchups, assuming the 1 seeds move on. And then you look at UAB. This is a high-scoring, explosive offensive team. Got one of the best small players in the country in Jordan Jelly Walker. This guy can put it up and put it in. And so that'll be a real challenge for Houston. A remarkable job by Houston this season under losing Marcus Sasser and Tremont Mark. Calvin Sampson did a phenomenal job. And that team is playing some of its best basketball here in the last week.
Let me be clear. The Chattanooga Mocs are going to the Sweet 16. I think it pairs up well for them. I know Illinois had the disappointment of last year. And then, Villanova was hoping to get to Philadelphia. Didn't happen. Clark, don't pay attention. Loyola's going to beat Ohio State in the first round. And Tennessee, I think it sets up well for them to go into the Elite Eight.
Well, I know the Buckeyes want to get healthy. Having a start on Friday, an added day, should help them get a little healthier and a little more ready for a tough Loyola Chicago.
I don't like Tennessee as a 3.
The Capital One NCAA March Madness Bracket Challenge, the official bracket game of the men's NCAA March Madness, is almost ready for your picks. Get your bracket started at play.ncaa.com. We're halfway through our review. Women's 16-18 bracket review is tonight at 8 Eastern Time. Several men's teams still anxiously await their fate. When will their names be called? Who will they play?
It's a great omen. Seth Davis is never right about anything.
We'll review the Midwest when the March Madness selection show continues on CBS.
I got the Final Four! Yeah, I got my 4% cash back on our tickets with my Capital One savings card.
Oh, snap. Bird's up this year. Bird. Oh, man. Bird, the source is losing to me is 79. Really?
Oh, I wasn't even born yet.
Oh, hey, fellas, y'all know 12-time All-Star Sue Bird?
Is there some other bird?
Yeah, this bird appeared to sell some scores on the court.
I'm game. Magic.
Looks like you about to get the double birds.
It's going to be a minute. It's going to be.
Yeah, right.
All right, Joey.
Hey, guys, ready?
Trent. Stuff we got to handle. Ready, Roman.
I did get a couple of good snaps. I can send them to you if you like. You know that Seth Davis has never been right about anything.
That's who said that?
Yeah. Never. Not once.
It is what it is, right?
Hot mic, testing, hot mic, white balance. Sounds good. We have sound. I have white balance. We're waiting on television plugins. Here in the next few minutes, I'll have a email that'll go out to everyone. They'll talk about credentials and the online link to submit your credential request. There's a deadline of 4 o'clock tomorrow to get all that stuff in. And once it's approved, you'll get media hotel information after that. So I don't think that's never been an issue. in the past. So I don't see that. Basically, what happens is that everybody submits their credential request. I'll approve it and make sure the riffraff don't get accepted, and then you'll get the hotel information. So just treat me right, Joey. Okay.
Is there, because I haven't covered a real one of these yet, like, there be like availability in Pittsburgh?
Yes. Yeah. And so there'll be, once we know, I don't know what our game time, I don't know if they had a game time on there. They haven't set those yet. Normally what they'll do is they'll say Friday game 1, home team or higher seed, this is your time slot. But it'll be a lot like what happened at the Big Ten. There won't be any open locker room like was done prior to the pandemic. So, but there will be a press conference that will include coach and multiple players. We'll see. Yeah, we got to see. We'll just see what the time's like. There's usually there's an open gym, like where you have an open practice, basically it's not your real practice, but a run up and down the floor. Yeah. Very aware of how. You need more white balance back there? Or am I just holding this up for nothing at this point? Okay. So as soon as we get a game time, we'll probably get that sent out. Wisconsin's a 3 seed. In Milwaukee. Any questions about credentials? Excellent. Brett, I'll wait for your sound check. Make sure you're good. I know. Did you hear me talk about credentials? All right. Hot mic testing check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Good. All right. Good. I can get out.
3, check. Howdy. Four.
Wow, we're that formal. Exciting day. I think one of the great things about participating in the NCAA tournament is Selection Sunday and hearing your name actually called. And you can run a million scenarios prior to and start looking at who, what, where, and it really doesn't matter. And it sometimes doesn't go as planned. We had a pretty good idea. We were going to be locked in the 3-4 area, depending on what what happened in some of the outcomes. But so it's a great day. It's you're one of 68, and there's 357 of us or whatever there are, and you're one of 68. We're a 4 seed, and we've got a great opponent who's won a lot of games. They've got very good players. We'll dive into the individual piece after I'm done here in terms of what that team looks like. But again, anytime you find a conference winner, a team who's won as many games as they have, they understand winning. So we're excited. We'll, been to Pittsburgh before and played in a tournament and looking forward to that opportunity again.
It's for Kofi and Trent. First time you've had this kind of like celebration moment in 3 years here. What was this like? It seemed like it was more of a muted kind of business-like reaction. What was your emotions going through that?
I thought it was special, especially like not having that last year. But to actually be able to see our name get called on, TV and us be a part of it. But most importantly, like having March Madness, like for the first time, back at full capacity with fans. So we're excited. We're super pumped. Like Coach said, we're ready, to get going, get prepared. So it was a special moment.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Even though we didn't have the experience last year of just having like Trent said, full capacity and like actually watching the show and being here for media and stuff, we're really dialed in and we're ready to to take that next step and go compete in the NCAA tournament. So it was really special for us.
Coleman, Coach said that you guys kind of knew you're going to be a 3 or 4. So just when it got to that point in the bracket, like I know there's like in the first region, there's a little like anticipation when Arkansas got the 4. Were you just waiting for that?
Yeah, for sure. And then just seeing, kind of anticipating 3 or 4, and then just waiting on what area we're going to be in. That's what we're all about. But I mean, I kind of had the feeling that we were going to be on that side of the bracket, and if you look at that side, it's also a very tough side. So I'm definitely looking forward to it, though.
Do any of you have friends that play for Chattanooga? You don't know anybody? All right, and did you talk to each other about wearing the shades?
Oh, yeah, we did. We had it planned out.
Nobody told me anything.
Kofi didn't get the memo.
I mean, it was a muted celebration. You guys kind of just clapped. What was the mindset going into this? I mean, is it like a business thing, or how did you guys talk about how you were going to approach that moment when you heard your name?
Yeah, it's definitely a business thing, man. We've been here before. We've been to the tournament last year, and we know how that feeling was. So we're not trying to get too high right now. We're prepared to go out there and play the hardest. And just go out there and compete at the highest level. So we're more focused on not celebrating right now, but celebrating in the long run when we complete the task.
This is for Kofi mostly. You returned to Illinois in that video, or however you announced your return, you said you wanted to build your legacy. How important is it for you to go to a second weekend in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, it's very important, especially for these guys. Trent. Who knew that Trent and DeMonte and those guys were going to get an opportunity to come back? So I think it's really important that those guys, with the experience that I had last year, being in that locker room, crying and just regretting that we didn't play our best. You know, I don't think we'll have that. I know we won't have that feeling this year because we're prepared and we're gonna tell the younger guys we're gonna get them prepared for it and know what it is. So I think we're gonna be on point this year.
Trent Covey spoke about having the experience of being there. From your standpoint as a leader on this team, how will you approach it, having been to the NCAA tournament, getting these guys ready to have it go a better route this time?
I think the most important thing is experience-wise is, Coach talked about it a lot. It don't matter what your record is or what seed you is, you just got to be better that night. And I think, like you said, with experience last year, us having the 1 seed, we weren't ready for that. And we weren't the best that night. So I think, like Kofi said, our mindset right now, as a selection show called our name, is just more focused, on, trying to go out every night and advance, and that's the most important thing on our mind right now is, just trying to advance every week and just stay focused.
As for Coleman, what have the last couple of days been like for you guys as you've maybe recalibrated or reset a little bit?
Kind of just relax. Like Coach was telling us, it's good to get a day off before all this, and just kind of get back into the right mindset and get your mind focused on preparing for, what, could possibly be the end of your season. We're only guaranteed one more game, and kind of just laser focusing on that. And just, like I said, have the right mindset for the next couple of weeks.
Kofi, you basically get a week off games. What's that do for your body, for your legs heading into the tournament?
It just gives you opportunity to, to dial in more. It's not just on your body. It gives you the opportunity to rest more, obviously, because you're not playing. But, just get mentally focused. We get more time to prep, more time to prepare for these guys. Like we said, it's one game and you could be out there, So we're just going to take this time and, dial in and make sure that we're mentally prepared and focused, on the common goal. So it's this week is definitely big time for us to just come in, to get better, get up shots. We didn't shoot the ball well last game, but this opportunity is great for us to get up shots, just tighten up those little things that we need to do to win.
Coleman, I know Coach always wants a chip on your shoulder. So when you hear Seth Davis say Chattanooga's going to the Sweet 16, what was your reaction?
I mean, I already know that there's going to be a lot of people, betting against us. A lot of people had hope in us last year, and we didn't, have the outcome we wanted. But there's always going to be people that don't believe in us. But we're not going to really focus on that. We're just going to keep it one game at a time, and hopefully prove anyone who doubts us wrong. So.
Trent, I kind of want to go back to just being able to be with each other and watching the show. I mean, that's the first experience for you, even though you guys have really kind of made 3 tournaments. The one was canceled. What was that like? I mean, just to have that moment with one another.
It's special. Like I said at the beginning, especially to see our names get called, being a part together, especially for the freshmen, their first time being on the team. But I think as I see this, Kofi, us, Monte, Jake, we still have that bad taste in our mouth of being eliminated in the second round. So, yes, it's special, but we can't, we don't try to lose track of, what happened last year and try to learn from it and go on because, like I said, seeds don't matter. You just got to be better that night. And we got to take that, into perspective and try to be the best, every night and go out there and just play hard.
For any of you guys, I don't know how much you pay attention to like where the sites are, but before today, did you think like it would be cool to play in this city or like do you guys even think along those lines?
I mean, I don't think the location matters. You gotta win the game. You gotta survive in advance. I mean, I don't really see the locations. I'm not going there for vacation. We're trying to we got a goal. We're trying to get to the Final Four, possibly farther than that. But we have one goal, and that's to continue to survive in advance every night. So we don't really look at the palm trees that we're gonna. So
before today, there was only one location that I knew that I even thought about. It was New Orleans. I heard about that from Trent. He told us, he's like, that's where the Final Four was, and that's been my goal since he told me that. I had no care in the world about what the other locations were. That's my goal right now. So we're gonna get there.
Were any of you aware of the history of the Chattanooga versus Illini in the NCAA tournament?
Not until today. But we could guarantee you, that history will not repeat. We're dialed in right now. We're mentally focused, and we're taking it one step at a time. But our goal is like I said before I came back. My goal is to play in that last game, and everybody has the same focus right now. So I highly doubt that history will repeat itself with how hard we're gonna play.
Were you guys even born then?
No. No.
So they wouldn't know.
Hans probably was.
But yeah.
So you did talk about it in the ready room.
I literally just heard it before I came to this room.
There's literally only 2 other Big Ten teams in the South. Do you guys welcome a chance to see like other faces in the next couple weeks?
Repeat that.
There's only 2 other Big Ten teams in your side of the bracket. Do you guys like welcome the opportunity to see teams not from the Big Ten?
Oh, of course. We're tired of the Big Ten right now. To be honest, we're trying to stay away from those guys. It's been obviously a tough year. We've been beating each other up. Really physical, long season, as you can see. But yeah, we're tired of them right now. But like I said, our main focus right now is taking the day-by-day preparation this week leading up to Friday, and just continue to have the focus of just surviving and advancing.
I personally don't care who it is. We were the number 1 seed in the Big Ten. Let's not forget.
Kofi, when you returned to Illinois, did you envision this kind of day and this kind of moment with your teammates, and how did it compare to maybe what you thought it would be over the summer?
Yeah, absolutely. I envisioned it. Like I said, that was one of the reasons why I chose to come back with these guys. I knew how good we were, and I still don't think we've come close to hitting that peak, or getting to as good as we can get. We're still learning, we're still getting better. But I definitely envisioned this. These guys are really tough guys. They're winners. They want to win, and they want to get better every day. So, just getting the opportunity to be selected today and just be around these guys and have that moment, it was incredible, and I definitely saw it.
See you guys in the morning.
Yes, sir. For the players. Because I'm a player.
Never a bad day for Kofi.
Brett, I don't know if you asked Seth to do that, but is that fuel for your fire when he says mocks to the Sweet 16?
I don't pay attention, but yeah, sure. Anytime somebody, doesn't believe in you, you want to, try to prove them wrong. But that's a small piece of this. The mocks are pretty good, and we'll have to play really well.
You talked about going into today, just running through a million different scenarios. And was Chattanooga one of those? And I guess when did you maybe start prepping for however many teams you prepped for?
We had it down to 3. We were down to 3 as a 14, and we were down to 3 and they were spot on. You can pretty much narrow it down. There's so many analytics today. The only thing we didn't know is what value there would be in Kofi's absences. We had 2 losses without Kofi. We've had 1 without Jake. So we didn't know if that would play into much. I thought it did early in their first reveal. We were 3, and but that's okay. The seeds. The games are all hard. It's doesn't matter, and you got to show up. You're gonna have to play somebody really good, and it's probably a conference champion and won a boatload of games, and so we're quite fine with that. But we had a pretty good idea where we were going to be seated.
Coach, essentially this is 3 years in a row qualifying for the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
First one you didn't go, but can you just comment on where the program is at now, big picture wise, and the one thing you haven't done is make a deep run in the tournament. How important is that?
Yeah, we got upset last year. That I think that happens to That's happened to every program in throughout the existence of the NCAA tournament, and it's what makes the NCAA tournament unique. You know, it's really been 1 year because we didn't play the other year, but you know, I don't worry about it. You know, you show up, you compete, and if you're good enough that day, you get to advance. And I think we've proven we can beat a lot of really good teams. You know, I think we just beat a team that's playing better than anybody in the country in Iowa. And you know, so you know, we lost in overtime to Arizona, who's in our bracket. So I'll feel pretty good.
Right, I know you guys probably would have enjoyed being in Indianapolis right now, but today, what was it like just for the normalcy and being able to get, like, you guys were on a ladder last year when they called your name, just to be able to have a sense of normalcy for the celebration and the show?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to be on a ladder again. Championships are hard to, you know, my hat's off to Fran and his group, but you know, it was also it was a unique experience last year. We played with such a chip. You know, we were out to prove something throughout the course of the 20-game regular season that it didn't go our way in terms of winning the title. You know, we were ticked off. I mean, that, you know, you play 20 games, win the most games, and don't win a title. When in the history of life has that ever happened? We were ticked off. So we played with a purpose. We had tremendous energy those 3 nights. And yet we just had a little bit of flat. I mean, I couldn't get them going again. And, you know, our guys didn't know either. You know, I've said that many times. Tyler was the only guy who'd been in that locker room as an NCAA tournament participant. And you have to know the abruptness of the end and what that's like if you don't play well. So, you know, we'll address that, but it was nice to really have an off day yesterday, and Trent was dunking balls today. And I mean, I haven't seen Trent dunk in a long time, and, you know, get refreshed, get the body right. And today we lifted and did a bunch of shooting and some dry offense. And then tomorrow we'll, you know, put a plan together, knowing on whether we played Thursday or Friday. So we'll put a plan together tonight and go accordingly by that.
Brad, I think it was after the Ohio State game, you had kind of gotten together with your staff, or at least you told us you got together with your staff and said, hey, give me 3 or 4 things that we really struggle with, that we need to figure out before we hit the NCAA tournament. Can you comment on how that's gone since then, and how you guys have handled what you think you're going to be able to face?
Well, number one was pick and pop fives. And we did a pretty good job against Iowa in that area. And that was just something we don't see a ton in this league. But we had a stretch coming up where we were going to see a bunch, and with Penn State, with Ohio State obviously hurt us, and then, you know, the Iowa playing small. So we spent a good amount of time on that. Simply our ball screen coverages on the ball, and then our transition defense. So we're getting better in all those.
Looks like Lamont Paris has built the mocks better each year for the 5 years he's been there. Do you have any relationship with him or any of the assistants?
I just know of him. I don't know. I haven't dove into. I wasn't going to waste my time getting into 6 teams or 7 teams till I actually knew who it was. So, you know, I know he was at Wisconsin for a long time. He's done a great job. That's historically been a very good program, and you know, he's to be commended.
How's Jacob?
Progressing.
Brady mentioned about the last couple of years being took off last year in the Big Ten tournament. How do you use that as fuel for your guys, but also not have that pressure of trying to make up for the last 2 years of missed opportunities?
Yeah, I think the one thing that we've got to do is just go have fun. You know, I think one of the great things about the NCAA tournament is it happens so fast, and if you don't just enjoy it, but you got to have fun. And I mean, our practices are going to be very, very competitive. They're going to be very light, and we're going to have fun. And you know, we've got to play I looked at a deal yesterday, and our two lowest offensive efficiency games are Rutgers and the Indiana game, or two of the three. And they're also our fewest turnover games. Played too tentative, and we're not doing that. We're not going into this tournament doing that. We're going to go let it fly. We're going to have fun. We're going to compete, and we're going to execute, and we're going to play hard. And we've got to play that way. We got to enjoy the moment.
Coach, their top player, Malachi Smith, is from here. Played at Belleville West, a couple state championships. Were you familiar with him?
Oh, I've seen him a lot.
And yeah,
I recruited a guy called EJ Liddell.
yes,
I think he was an all-league guy. He was really good. Malachi, if I'm not mistaken, I think he started out at Wright State. I think, but Malachi was a really good player. Has great size. I mean, you average 20 points a game as a Division I basketball player. You know what you're doing. And so very familiar with him, and obviously Silvio, I know about. So, other than that, everything's very superficial what I'm talking about right now. I just haven't dug into all their stuff. But yeah, he was a terrific player. He was a state champion. He won, and good player.
When you were recruiting Kofi to return for this junior season, you talked a lot about legacy, I'm sure. What's the importance of him kind of just seizing this moment and playing well in this first game, and obviously any games after that?
It's what makes March great. You can elevate, you can make yourself legendary in March, and he's got that opportunity, and that's helping our team win, and those are all the things that he prides himself on. So I'm excited to see him.
When Kofi says you guys haven't peaked yet, what's your thought on trying to find that now in this tournament, survive and advance, and try to hit that top level?
Well, with the emergence of Coleman, getting him back, I feel better about our basketball team right now than I felt in a long time. And that's saying that after we missed 10 free throws, 10 layups, 3 dunks, and still had a chance to win a game against a team that's really hot. I mean, still had a chance to win a game. And, but I feel great. I mean, I think we've been guarding better. I mean, Xavier Johnson's 5 of 15 in the ball screen coverage was better. I mean, it was little things and it was just didn't help that we had pink eye going around our team and everything else. And that's why Trent and Coleman are in sunglasses, and I should be. I've got it in both my eyes. It's just weird. It was a weird day. So
did you tell the guys or give the guys advice for how to, I mean, it's just such a kind of a muted business-like reaction. Was that just just having a bunch of dudes who've been around for a while, or what do you think went into that?
Yeah, I didn't make too much out of it. I think they're excited. This team's always been at their best when it's very businesslike, and it was, going to Michigan and wearing business suits, on the trip. And that's who this team is. They're still a lot of fun, but that's what this team is.
Who is it on your staff that put together those folders, and when do you start that, and how many, or do you kind of wait so it's not 15 or 20 teams?
Yeah, Zach Hamer gets most of the responsibility with that. He and Tyler, Patrick Biddle, and just in terms of starting to analyze, where it can be. There's obviously a ton of analytics formulas out there. You look at all the gurus and their brackets, but we had a pretty good idea where we were going based on the analytics, and Zach was behind most of that.
Brady mentioned the emergence of Coleman, and Curbelo seems like the last couple of games as well. What does that do for your team going in, given that they feel like they're starting to feel more comfortable?
Well, I think it was evident. I mean, the one thing Dre gives us is a great push in transition. Our ability to get easy baskets with him is tremendous. The other thing is it enhances our rebounding. It's no coincidence. Bello had 10, the other day. He was our leading rebounder in our last 5 games last year. And that allows us to get out and run and push. Coleman is a very, very good rebounder. Coleman, and I've said it all along, he's a very good shooter. He's just got to believe it. And now he's shooting the cover off of it. Bello had a very uncharacteristic day and, missing some layups, but his ability to live in the paint, helps us a lot.
With the way the tournament format works, do you guys talk about trying to win 6 in a row, or do you guys break it down with just win 2 in a row, take a breath, win 2 in a row, take a breath, win 2 in a row, take a breath?
Win 1 in a row. Win 1. And if you start looking at the next one, our assistant coaches will obviously have to work a little bit ahead for the next opponent, but it's never brought up to our players. It's not, we didn't do that last year with Drexel. Look at, thinking, well, it's prepare, execute, win. And, it's a very quick celebration, and then it's on to the next. And that's what the NCAA tournament is on to the next, survive in advance. And you have to have that mentality.
Brett, what have you learned about playing in the NCAA tournament? Have you always had that fun approach, so to speak, like you talk about, or are you changed from your time at SFA or Oklahoma State or to where you are now?
No, we had a blast at SFA. I mean, we were, I actually changed a lot there. Just in terms of kind of livening it up. You don't want to go in and play with pressure. You don't want to go in. You want to go in with energy. You want to go in with excitement. And really this past season was kind of the first time I felt like we didn't have that, but we were in the bubble. We weren't here. We'll get our guys going and cranked up now that we can be in our practice facility and have some of the tools and, music but it's just fun. It's just fun. You got to make it fun. You got to make it fun. You got to get these guys hyped and excited about the challenge ahead.
You mentioned Tyler was the only player last year that had played in the NCAA tournament. Now you have a whole crew returning. What does that hurt that they felt last year? How does that impact this year's run?
I hope a lot. Because that's you just don't know what it's like to walk off the court and then realize that you're going to do nothing with that group of guys again, that it will be completely different. And it ends just like that. And, to walk back in there an hour later and still see guys in tears, still see guys in uniform, man, that stinks. And you work so hard to get to those moments. And you have to understand what that's like to not be your best. And that's sure not taking anything away from the opponent, but it's can't happen. You got to maximize your opportunities.
Coach, seems like guard play is always really important in the postseason. It's kind of amplified a little bit. Would you agree with that? And how does that benefit your team with the experience that you have at guard?
No, I agree with that. And I think I think you've got to have guys who can go make shots, not afraid to make clutch plays. And, traditionally in the NCAA tournament, the game slows down, becomes harder to play. You see less substitutions. The media timeouts are longer. You see the best players on the court more often. And so it becomes just, a pretty, the best against the best. I mean, for a lot of times, there's just less substitutions. And so the game slows down and you've got to have good guards and guys that can go make plays. And man, I'll put our guards up there with anybody.
You talk a lot about how experience is important in the NCAA tournament and having an understanding of the abruptness of the end, like you say. Last year's team didn't understand that, but this year's team is older and they've got that kind of experience. Does that create a certain sense of urgency within the leadership of the team to kind of share that knowledge?
They'll share it. We just talked about that with our guys and, making sure that, RJ, Luke, Pods, those young guys need to know what and hear about the stories of what that felt like last year. And urgency, I don't know if I would use that term, but I think there's, it's what makes March Madness the best sporting event ever. And it's just, you've got to go perform. And you can call it urgency, you can call it a sense of being your best, whatever you want to call it, however you want to label it. You got to be good that night or you get beat.
Brett, I know the timing of this question probably isn't ideal, but your alma mater came open. There seems to be some buzz from the state of Kansas that they would be interested in talking with you. How do you approach that? I mean, just knowing that you have a lot of business here.
I don't. I would never discuss anything professionally with you guys like that. But man, I love Illinois. We got the best fans. I got a great boss. We got top 10 program. We're winning Big Ten championships. We're winning championships. So I'm very singular, as you guys know, and I can't control what people say and people think, and that's, I'm not worried about that.
Along those lines with experience, we talked about the players' experience, but how important is it for the coach to have tournament experience? And how does that impact the continuity, kind of staying along the same path that you were in the regular season and taking that into the postseason?
Yeah, I think every game's different. I think there's, I was blessed. I won my first game. It's a different, the NCAA tournament will be a different experience for our guys this year than it was last year. I mean, last year we walked into a building with nobody, really, and no crowd and no atmosphere, and you get the police escorts and you get all of that, and it's just a different vibe, and it's the way you're treated, the way, it's different. But the 40-minute game is coaching, and I don't think there's a huge amount of experience from the sideline that that matters. We've all coached enough games now that we will figure that out.
You've kind of mentioned it before, but if you had to describe what the difference of the practices leading up to, say, when you played Drexel last year and how they're going to be constructed to what you're going to do this year, how would you describe it?
Well, we were in the convention center last year, and we were coming out of, last year we never got to even celebrate the championship. I mean, they gave us a Chick-fil-A sandwich and sent us to testing and quarantine. And we didn't even see each other. We got a knock on the door. Yeah, there's your breakfast. Knock on the door. There's your lunch. And it was fabulous because we got to play. And then we're playing at the convention center. We walk through a hallway. They tell us we're on court 26, and you practiced. And now you've got some ability to process, to be around your guys, to wind them up, to you got a limited time. Because Team B is coming on, and so it's just a completely different. We're on spring break. We'll go twice tomorrow, and getting lifts in and going to the weight room and having guys together and connected. It's apples and oranges, to be honest.
When you guys are going from city to city, you've done it before in this. What's it like on those flights and those trips versus you're stuck in a room? I mean, just what would they miss out on last year just in that experience?
The biggest thing we missed out on was we didn't get to come home and celebrate. We didn't get to do that. And you guys got to understand, that was the beauty of Sunday. Winning the Big Ten regular season, we got to have that moment and celebrate. And you have to. If you can't do that in this business, then man, this business will eat you up, and it just becomes a relief then to win. And it's not going to be that. I don't ever want to do that. I don't want it to be a relief to win. I want it to be fun and energetic. We never got to do that last year. And then come home and get on the plane, and Joey Biggs is over busting his tail right now trying to figure out, okay, how are we getting to Pittsburgh? And and you work with the NCAA and all their people, and they send you the charter and this and that, and it's just different. It's apples and oranges. It's really, and I use that term a couple times. It's just different.
Didn't you tell a story about you kind of learning that lesson at Western? Like you were going to go back and do a bunch of studying, and they told you to enjoy it. I mean, is that an important thing to pass down to? You got a younger coaching staff here. It's
huge. I mean, I coached 10 years at Western. We never got to the tournament. I mean, and at SFA, they'd been one other time before I got there, and it's hard, man. I mean, everybody just takes winning for granted, and there's very few programs that have the ability to do that multiple years in a row. And so you better enjoy it, because tomorrow is sure not given, and being good, being a 1 seed and a 4 seed, and we'd have been a 4 or 5 probably the year before, and come on, man, we're playing. We've been pretty doggone good, and you got to enjoy those moments. Sorry.
You're good. When you kind of think about what this moment means to a lot of these players who maybe haven't had it as a big group with the cameras and everything here to make it a big celebration, what does it mean to have it today with everyone here as a big group? Does it mean a little bit more than maybe it did last year? Obviously, 2 years ago, you didn't have it.
I think it's an important piece of the NCAA tournament is the selection show, and you're together and you're doing that. And, I don't know, somebody made the comment, or Camp, maybe last year when the selection show was going on, I was cutting down a net. We didn't even know who they threw something on a board, said, hey, Illinois is a 1 seed and we'll play Drexel. I mean, all the while you're trying to celebrate getting your trophy. And so this was a different experience, and I think it's a big part of the tournament. I think it's a powerful part of the tournament, and it's something that, okay, hey, we met in State Farm Center, and when it came on, we were watching it on the big board, and this is what, and okay, it's part of it. It's a big part.
Coach, one of the most debated players among the fan base, Andre Curbelo. Are you in a good place with him as far as how he's playing and his usage rate? Do you feel it's about right now?
I feel great about him. I mean, he got coast to coast in less than 3.5 seconds and missed a layup that he would make 99% of the time. He's outstanding defensively. He graded out better than anybody else. He got 10 rebounds. He's had a very challenging year. There's no doubt about that. Most people, want to criticize or whatever. Man, I love that kid, and I appreciate his competitiveness and his desire to win. And, he's unparalleled in that area.
Apart from cough, sniffles, and blurry eyes, how do you feel?
Not good. Because of this, great, because of what I feel about my team. I mean, I've never felt better about my team, and I feel this team is despite. I think there's a lot of positives that come from that can come from getting a couple days rest, getting your mind right, and been through that experience many times, and. So I feel great, and I feel great about how they're playing. The emergence of Coleman Hawkins is becoming one of the, not just one of our better players, but, one of the better guys out there. So Curbelo's playing great. We missed some shots the other night, and Plummer had an unusual night. Trent had pink eye, and, so we dealt with some tough breaks, but I feel great about them.
But are you going to be good to go tomorrow?
I will be absolutely good to go.
After having gone through the 20-game gauntlet of this league, to not see one team on the 1 or the 2 line, is it pretty much accurate to kind of say you guys cannibalized each other in terms of?
We do that every year.
Yeah.
And did we get 9 in? So I saw some stuff on the bubble, and to think that Rutgers was on the bubble. I mean, and I know they had a tough preseason. My gosh, are they good? But I think there's value in the fact we got 9 teams in. I think it's you just refresh back to the preseason and how everybody was convinced that Purdue was unbeatable, and how good they are, and they are really good. And you just it's brutal. It's brutal. It's not like anything I've ever seen in basketball going through this league. There are no cupcakes, and the coaching and the venues and the fans are unbelievable. So, we would all like to be higher, but we got 9 in. I think it speaks volumes to the coaches in this league, and the toughness and the grit that each of these programs show. And I think we got multiple teams that can make a deep run. See you later. Oh man.